Welcome! In this video we are going to go over how to create a rendering that is light and shadow and texture on a drawing of an object. This is especially useful for industrial designers, concept artists, and pretty much everyone. The workflows and concepts here can be pretty much applied by anyone interested in drawing. So let's begin. I'm going to demonstrate by creating a simple sphere. You could do, when you get better at this, when you have a better understanding of form, you can do complex shapes with these same fundamental ideas. So first we're going to create a sphere. I used the ellipse tool, and so we're going for a wood. So let's pick up kind of a mid-saturation, mid-lightness woody color from here, and then I press G twice, so I get this fill tool and refer only to editing layer, click here. Okay, we have a brown dot. Now, let's decide on our lighting. So underneath this, underneath our sphere, I'm going to create a new layer and just take some white, and I press B twice to get this soft airbrush. It is here if you want to pick it by hand. And let's say our source of light is in this corner, so a bit of light there, and then I'm going to create a bit of darkness here. Yeah, and that's drawing sounds. So, and then I'm going to even it out by going to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, then just max it, and it's going to take a while for the computer to figure out what the hell I'm doing. And actually I made a bit of a mistake. Oh well, let's just, yeah. If you have a more powerful computer, it's going to do this much faster, or if you have a smaller canvas, mine is 4000 times 4000 pixels, so at resolution 300, so it takes a while. And yeah, done. And actually come to even out this darkness a bit, because it's weird that it's like going around the sphere. So yeah, something like that. And I'm not going to leave it that bright, so drop the opacity a bit, something like that. Okay, now let's get to the actual rendering. We have a light source, so I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to make it into a clip mask. And this layer I'm going to name Clip Top. And then I'm going to click again on the sphere, and I'm going to create another layer, and it's automatically a clipping mask because it automatically has the clipping mask applied, since it has a clipping mask above it. And now, what clipping masks do is they limit everything I draw on this layer to the layer beneath it. So you'll see. So we are going to start with shading. So airbrush, black, soft, let's go. And I'm going to go to do this kind of like a round shape here. So imagine the roundness of the ball, how it flows. And yeah, I'm going to leave it more gradual, more light at the edge and more dark below. Something like that. And as you can see, with a clipping mask, it only appears on top of the brown splotch we made underneath. Now I'm going to go here and pick overlay or soft light. It kind of depends which looks nicer. I think soft light is probably better here. Leave it there. Then I'm going to create and I'm going to name this layer shadow. Always name your layers so you won't get confused. I'm going to do it again, but only like more gradually the edges and not go so deep into the sphere. Something like that. And I'm doing this with a mouse. You can also use any kind of a drawing implement you want to use. If you have a touch screen, probably that as well. And mouse is just a bit easier. I'm going to reduce the darkness of it a little bit so it isn't completely black, but yeah, something like that. This is going to be core shadow. Now, next layer, we're going to put a bit of light here, so go pick white and since our light source is 0, the light is probably going to be somewhere around here. Something like that. And then we go here, and it's overlay or soft light. Soft light's a bit softer. Let's go with that. Just, yeah, something like that. That is our light. Then I'm going to create another layer called saturation. And since this side is in the light, so we're going to go here, pick this color we had, okay, and then I'm going to go to the similar color but create a much brighter, more saturated version. So since when things are in light, they often appear that the colors are more vibrant than in shadow, so I want this effect, and we're going to add a bit of that there, a bit of saturation. Overlay, soft light. Yeah, I think that's good. Would I want it underneath the light layer? Does it affect it? How much? And I kind of like, if something doesn't really work, I might like fiddle with it a bit, move it onto different layers and that kind of stuff. I'm just going to pick both of these, press Ctrl T and drag them a bit more downwards. So it's, yeah, that's good. Then next layer. Highlight. That's how you write it. So we're going to create a small dot, like, okay, light is coming from there, so maybe a small dot, and I'm kind of a bit spreading it out to the side since this is a spherical object. And I'm going to take an eraser, and I'm pressing the wrong buttons. So if you press Ctrl Alt and right click, you can like drag and adjust the size of your brush in Clip Studio Paint. So something like that, a bit of like here. Yeah, that's probably nice enough. Now, next layer, we're going to call it ground reflection. So we have this ball here, and the ball kind of appears to be floating in space. So, but we're going to create this kind of like a surface effect that it is akin to being on a surface. So we're going to go to our background here, and I'm going to press I, or pick this color picker tool here, eyedropper, obtain display color. And actually it doesn't, since I'm on the same layer, I could use this, but yeah, whatever. And click here. So we have this color. Maybe actually go right over here. Pick that color. Okay, now go back to the ground reflection layer. Again, go to our brush. Maybe something like that, and create a big splotch of it. Just click it multiple times. Yeah, really fill it in. Now I'm going to press Ctrl T. If you're using Mac, that's Command T. And I'm going to squash this down. So I press Ctrl and then pick this middle box, middle point, and drag it up here. So we have this kind of shape here, maybe a bit bigger. Okay, and drag it somewhere close to here. Okay. Now I'm going to go to Edit, Transform, and Mesh Transformation. And this gives us this kind of like a grid. How do I pronounce that? My throat is really dry. Anyways, so yeah, we get this kind of a grid. I'm going to reduce the number of control points here, and then I'm going to pick these points and use them to bend the shadow. So it again follows the curvature of the object. This is pretty much the key why you have to understand forms when doing these kinds of things, so you know where the shape is supposed to follow the form, and when you do it successfully, it reinforces the illusion of depth and shape. Something like that, maybe. Maybe go there a bit. Whatever. Close enough. And then I'm going to reduce the opacity a bit. If you have this small icon here, it's really useful for checking out how these things are going. Another new layer, well, a lot of layers, and this is going to be background reflection. Background ref, whatever. And again, press I, obtain display color. Okay, get this shape here. So if you imagine a ball, you'll realize that it will pick up, it is a round shape, so it will pick up reflections from the sides as well. And often in objects, when they are more flattened towards your view, they will appear lighter as well. So we're going to pick our brush tool again, airbrush, soft, make it a bit smaller, and then just go gently around the sides. It doesn't have to get in a lot, but a bit here. Maybe it's a bit too dark for the top. Let's pick our color again from here, so it it is accurate to the side that it's reflecting from. Again, pick here, it gets a little bit lighter and go around. And yeah, something like that. Just to make it sure that it mixes a bit better. We're going to go to Gaussian blur, pick maybe 51 or something like that, and press OK. And I don't know if it really did anything, but yeah. And again, reduce opacity a bit. So I feel like this effect works better when it's really subtle. You don't want it too strong. Though that again depends on how reflective or how matte your object is. So maybe something like that. That's decent enough. Let's leave it at that. Now, that's all of the light and all of the dark we're going to add to this picture. Now, texture. In this kind of like industrial design illustration, it is pretty common to just use photographs of already existing texture for it. If you are a painter, you're probably going to want to actually paint the texture in. But this kind of like a quick texture for, well, product illustrations and other concept art and that kind of stuff, you will do this here. So, actually, what did I? Oops, I dragged it. So I have this another document open. And this is a wooden deck texture I got from, what was the site called? It's CG Textures? No. This is really embarrassing, like ambient CG. So ambient CG, so I'm just going to like get a screenshot there. So yeah, and yeah, ambient CG. This is the site you want to visit if you want textures. So they have this like free to use textures you can use. They're kind of meant like for modeling things, but it works really well for this as well. And if you want to like practice this, you can just Google wooden texture and pick one. And so anyways, I've opened it on this file here. I'm going to select it, Control C to copy it, and I'm going to go here. And I'm going to paste it right above the basic color we have here. Control V, paste, and create it into a clipping mask. Now, if I wanted to mix in the wooden color of this layer, I would just go ahead with this one. But I want to really use those colors we picked there, so I'm going to press OK here. I'm going to go Edit, Tonal Correction, and Hue, Saturation, Luminosity. And we're going to drag the saturation to 0. So we have this kind of like grayscale texture. And now we're only getting light and dark of the texture onto the object instead of getting the color mixed in. And we're going to press, we're going to go to Edit again, and Transform and Mesh Transformation. Like, as you remember, this is a square picture, so the texture does not follow the shape of the sphere at the moment. So we're going to make it follow it better by clicking these points here and kind of squashing it around the edges, so it appears so that the texture appears more rounded. My throat is getting really dry. I'm going to drink while adjusting these layers. I hope you won't hear the sound through this microphone. Delicious water. Remember to drink more water. Be hydrated and take care of your health. Anyways, there, press OK. Wait a bit, I could have drank at this point. I didn't remember it. Actually, I'm going to drink some more. You go drink more. If you're watching this video, you watched it this far. You've watched it this far, you need to go take a drink. There, done. Okay, and then we're going to go to the overlay. I'm not actually sure what this like drop down block is actually even called. I just called them like overlay settings on my own, but that's not really probably the correct name. And then soft light. Overlay is a bit more of an aggressive effect. And maybe like overlay, go down. Yeah, that's it. And check this picture, does it look good? Maybe not, maybe yeah, maybe make darkness a bit darker. And this is essentially it. Now you know how to do these kinds of three-dimensional renderings. If you're rendering like a block, take into account the edges, where there is darkness, where there is light. If it's a cylinder, it's and yeah. The better you understand three-dimensional forms, the better you can apply this process to show those forms. And another step further would be, for example, wooden objects that are polished. They often have this kind of like a granular effect in the light. And now this light is just this even lighting. But if you wanted to go even better, you would have to like add the kind of a texture to the light and shadow, so it appears even more realistic. But this is... Actually, no. I lied. Let's do one thing more. So, we're going to go underneath our basic color and create just a normal layer here. And we're going to give this sphere a bit of a shadow. I lied. One more thing. And okay, so we have light coming from here. And where do we want this sphere to have shadow? So we're going to... Again, I'm clicking multiple times to create this big dark area of blackness, black and dark. And press Ctrl T. And again, Control, click, drag, squash it really flat. And then just rub it underneath the ball. Something like that. And you see it's like properly seated on an imaginary surface. And with that, that's done. If this video was helpful, subscribe, like our really small channel. If you subscribe and like, I'll know that this was useful for you. And maybe I will make more in-depth tutorials about this subject or another subject in the future. This has been Artnoid, and goodbye.